Okay. Okay, we're live. Oh. Hey guys. It's the everything in Facebook is changing, so it's like I don't really need to ask AI anything. I just need to
Did you want to talk about
Oh, that TikTok thing.
Welcome, everyone, to the Black Multiverse Theory podcast.
Nice work. Welcome to the Black Multiverse Theory podcast, where we are your hosts, Nigel and Nilo. We will be exploring current events through an Afro-Canadian lens. In shoutouts, we catch up with the community, creating a space for connection. The scroll dives into social media, current events, and celebrity news, always actual but not always factual. On the screen shares our latest watch list, while in our ears explores the sounds shaping our world. The podcast culminates with an uplifting message called The Word, which hopes to leave you empowered. Thanks for tuning in for our insightful analysis and vibrant perspectives on the Black experience in today's world. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for jumping in and joining us on the Black Multiverse Theory. I know we got quite a few people. Our day ones are on. We want to say thanks and shout outs to our day ones. That's Colin Brereton. We know he's out there, is always out there.
Mhm.
Mama Zita's always supporting all of the podcasts and radio stations we've been on, past, present, and future. And so she's always there. She hasn't been feeling well, but as Mom goes tonight, I think she's gonna be late if she's gonna be on at all, because she had a teaching session where she's instructing some seniors about a few things. So
Oh, nice.
it's fantastic. And we are celebrating this Saturday my mother, Mama Zita's 80th birthday on
Oh,
Saturday.
wow. What are you guys doing? What do you have planned?
We
if
have
you feel like sharing it with us.
Well, we have a few things planned. So there's food and
Oh, is it secret things?
I don't know, but she might be watching. So I don't know what's planned.
Sorry.
All I know is this
Wow.
Saturday. Unfortunately, this particular Saturday, I am working this particular Saturday. So I'm going to try to do something the day after with Mom and I alone. So we'll see what happens there.
Okay, I love
but
it.
she's supposed to be teaching and doing a session on her birthday as well.
Mhm.
So shout
She
out
might
to
be
her.
too busy for your shenanigans, for your gallivanting.
Well, on Sunday we made a plan. So
okay.
I have a plan to do something different.
Okay.
On Sunday, but on her birthday I don't have anything going, except for I have to work on that day.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah, and shout out to the Steel Heights Tigers, as the Steel Heights Tigers are and have come together. We are starting our new season of soccer. For those of you who don't know, I coach soccer, children's soccer for the U13s and U15, U/U17 category with the CGSA Soccer League. So if you want to join up, feel free. If you want to see the likes of me training kids and yelling at your kids on the field, that's what we do. And we make winners, no losers. Winners and learners. That's it.
Okay, winners and learners. I love it.
That's it. That's all we do.
What else we got?
Do you have a shout out?
Yeah, my biggest shout out is to my health services practitioners, Neville Wright, who we did a massage yesterday, and for the first time in a long time, it wasn't like ultra painful for me. I don't know what exactly that means in terms of anything, but I can actually say that the massage was actually like okay, like I can handle this. Also, I had a Reiki with Janelle of SS7 Empress, which is just right next door.
I go by Jay.
And it was very deep. I probably needed to sleep more than I did, but um, it was good. I feel like I needed a double session. It felt like too short, kind of. But it was really good. So shout out to them. That's it.
Well, I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl who looked good. I would call her. Too short.
Oh, it was too short. Also, a big shout out to Standing Bear. The women's group is having their women's sweat this weekend. If you're interested in sweating or sweat lodge,
Oh,
you can definitely get a hold of me and I can put you in contact with them. This weekend is a women's only sweat. So,
nice.
yeah.
Are you going?
I will not be there, unfortunately.
Okay, okay,
My
okay.
calendar is a bit full.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's what I have.
That's what we have.
Shout out to Bill. Shout out to Uncle Mario, Uncle Chris, Uncle Andre. I don't know if you guys are on here, but shout out to you if I happen to see you on here. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
And also shout out to my Uncle Howard. I don't know if he actually watches this, but yeah, shout out to him too. Okay. And lastly, shout out to everybody who has come to me and been like, hey, I listened to your show and it's actually good.
Okay. Yeah. We love when people
Mhm.
listen to the show. If you want to listen to our show, there's quite a few people who listen online from my platform and also from Nilo's platform, and normally from the Black Multiverse Theory page. You might not get that tonight. We might just be on mine, I think, tonight.
Oh, I shared it on my own page.
Okay,
I
great.
could probably share it on the other two as well, actually, while I'm at it.
All right.
Yeah, I can do that.
So then, because we have all the people that watch, we also have people that come in afterwards and join up and sign and watch from the pages the show and they
Hmm.
check it out. Because we have so many people, we are offering a um, sponsorship program where you can sponsor a portion of the show with your business. As there are a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of black owned business out there where we want to encourage you to come in. It's a very low price. Get a hold of us, email us, get into the DMs, and
Ooh,
we'll get everything going from there. So we want to make sure, even if you have an event, you want us to announce that event, get a hold of us
let us know.
and we'll put it in there and we'll shoot it. We'll do some marketing. Part of your marketing budget, like a fraction of the cost of your marketing budget. We'll take that and definitely promote your event and have your event online.
I agree with everything Nigel just said. I just got in here to see Colin's message and I'm trying to figure out what is Brereton Roti Day and what is Brereton Doubles Day.
That is a family thing between Colin and myself. That is a personal message on my personal
Oh,
page.
oh, was it a personal message? Because I thought it was here under the Black Multiverse. Because I'm trying to get in on whatever that is. That's all I'm trying to say.
Colin is a great and awesome friend of mine, and I am very happy to have met Colin and all the people we met when we first started with Ben and Motown, and we first started with that stuff. And I met up Colin and his brother and his family, both brothers and his family, excellent, beautiful family. And one day, he was saying that if I'm in the area, I should swing by for Roti Day. And I said, just like you, what is Roti Day? And he goes, boy, if you don't know what Roti Day is, You're gonna find out. And so the last roti day came up, but when he called for it, I was busy. There was something going on. I
I
couldn't do
can
it.
always go in your place, obviously. You don't have to just stay
We
busy.
were both busy that day.
Okay.
But in this case,
Like, where
roti
are
day is coming up,
we? Okay.
and we have roti gang, roti gang, roti gang.
I'll
So,
take fiber that day.
so anybody who wants to participate in roti day is invitation only. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's not for you guys.
It's not everybody.
Just kidding. Okay. If you're here in Edmonton, there's a brand new area being developed behind what used to be the municipal airport area over there. The neighborhood is called Blatchford. And there's a bunch of new houses in Blatchford. There's a new park back there in Blatchford.
Sorry, is this called The Scroll?
Oh, sorry, everybody. We're finished with shout outs. We're going to move on to The Scroll. Sorry, my transition was forgotten. Yeah, so there's that new area back there called Blatchford. If you ever get a chance to like go back there, go back there. It's still quite a bit wild. Like I think there was a whole coyote the last time I was back there. I was like,
Nice.
who let their husky out? Oh, that's exactly what happened. Anyway, a scene this past week that probably had developers in the bush rubbing up their hands with one of those old hangars.
Air Force hangars.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay. Airplane hangars.
airplane hangars caught fire. And I know they were just sitting there in the bushes like Edmonton has a tendency for fires in newly developing areas, I notice.
Yeah, what I realized about construction, being in construction myself, is that the wood that we use, the timber that you buy at Home Depot, it's like $3.
Tremendously flammable.
It is so flammable. It lights on fire so quick. We went to a church picnic, and everybody was like, "Oh, we're gonna cut down some trees while we're there." And the superintendent, Supa D, who we used to call him, which is Brother Daniel, he came to me and he said, "Hey, when you get a chance, just stop by Home Depot, please, and pick me up one thing of timber." He said, "Just pick me up one." I said, "Okay." He goes, "It's about $3. If it can fit in your car, bring it." And so I brought it, and he literally immediately lit the fire with the timber. He just took it, lit it, and it was like, whoosh. And he cut it up, of course. I made a little teepee thing. But it was like immediate. Everybody else was like lighters and lighter fluid. He didn't use even lighter fluid. He just lit that thing. And he winked at me and he goes, "Remember to always bring that wood." I said, "What?"
I'm going to tell you guys, girl is a sentiment, not a gender in this instance. And I'm going to say girl. That's crazy. It should be like treated in a way that makes it less flammable, assumptively.
It's treated in a way that is cheaper to build your house. So your house, it's stable and stuff like that. And once you do everything correctly, like you use insulated electrical and you make sure that your gas is all protected and not leaking, then you're not going to have a fire. But in this case, at the airport, at the air hangar,
this is an old hangar too.
It's an old hangar. These planes had jet fuel leaking out the bottom.
Yeah. You're not even allowed to, like, if you have an event in there, I mean, obviously you're not allowed to smoke, but you're not allowed to smoke like anywhere on the hangar.
Yeah, when we did that
old airport property.
When Bliss Band, Nilo and I, part of Bliss Band, the band, when we were in there,
we should call it Bliss Band the band.
Bliss Band the band. When we were in there, we did a wedding in there with the likes of Uncle Barry and the whole Bliss Band. Steven and Alex.
Rewo.
LaShawn was in there.
Who's our guy over there? Enoch was on sound.
Uzi didn't make an appearance. He wasn't in that one, but Ruva was in there doing her
Yep,
thing.
yep, 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 yep.
And I think even Jonathan Deppish made an
Oh, I
appearance
think
that
Johnny Depp
time.
was at that one. Yes.
So we came out, and you were not allowed
And
any type of open
sorry, shout
flame
out to
anywhere.
Alex too. Sorry.
I said Alex.
Oh, I missed him. Sorry, Alex.
Alex,
I
you got
missed
a
him.
double shout out.
Shout out,
You are
double shout out.
special, bruh.
Yeah,
But I miss you, man.
I do miss
If you watch
Alex.
the show.
Yeah.
So yeah, great, great place, great venue, very flammable. So one of the hangers, one of the old
Super
hangers,
flammable.
lit on fire. Went up like the 4th of July, or
Yeah,
the 1st of July, depending on where you live.
Those flames were pretty intense, and of course, Yegwave's got spies all over the city.
All over.
Because it was definitely, there was like footage,
Lots
if you
of
will. They're like Casey Jones out there in the street.
Dick Tracy on the streets. Since we're going to old school.
Goodness gracious. Well, congratulations to those developers. Hopefully no one was seriously hurt or injured in there. And God forbid it's a situation where there's like unhoused people starting fires to keep themselves warm, and then it is like erupting into flames. Hopefully they find themselves to safety as well, if that is the case.
Okay.
If it's the developers, good luck.
Good luck.
Godspeed.
Speaking of fire, though,
Oilers?
the Oilers are in the playoffs and they are on fire.
The thing
Doing
about
well.
the Oilers, though, is the collapse that usually happens after the first round. There's usually a how do you call it? What's that word called? Catastrophic. That's the word. There's usually a catastrophic collapse by the Oilers club. Hopefully, though, not this year. Hopefully they just do their thing.
Well, according to the thing, we are second in the Pacific division.
Okay.
So in the Pacific division, the Canucks are the only ones ahead of us in the Pacific division.
I mean, who's over here? Oh, I guess
Oilers are there. The Kings. We can't.
Oh, it's America too. Yes,
we can't beat the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
The Golden Knights. There's a lot of money in that team, though.
Yeah, they came out. I think weren't they the ones who came out with shiny golden helmets?
Yeah, they did have golden helmets. Also,
so distracting.
What's his name? Jordan. What's his name? Subban. Was their goalie for a little while. He's the only black goalie in the league.
And they have put a whooping on the Oilers almost every time I've seen it. Now, that's not saying that every time they face off, they've beat the Oilers. Just every time I've seen it, I just try not to look anymore. Or even if I try not to hear that they're even playing.
Right.
To jinx it. Because I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, the Golden Knights, they have a lot of money behind them as a club. And being from Vegas, if you can make ice in Vegas, So anyway, good luck to those Oilers. I didn't mean that with that noise. You know what I mean? Don't come at me with no Oilers hate. Just take your little Oilers flag from Canadian
no
Brew House and get on your way. All right, what do we got next?
Next up,
table tennis trouble.
What happened with table tennis?
The man was in Churchill Square. Once again, Yegwave with the shot. They always have like, who is this person? Where are they? Are they in a tree? Are they on a lamppost? Like, how are they getting this angle? But anyway, this guy comes up. Apparently, he was armed and dangerous, but he was just in it for a little bit of table tennis. So he's there. He's playing with his friend, chilling, sunshiny day with his tank top on, hat cap backwards.
Right.
And all of a sudden,
seven
whoop, whoop.
7 cops roll up right in the middle of Churchill.
Bad boys.
He was there playing a good game of ping.
Hey,
table
ping tennis.
Ping tennis.
But it was like 17 cops though. It was how many was it again? Did you count?
I did. I counted 17
Was it 17
officers.
for real?
It was 17
Oh,
officers.
okay. I just said that. I was like, oh, it
Yeah.
was like
They came in a
excessive.
wall, all of them with their guns out.
That's so wild.
And the guy he was playing table tennis was like,
Oh,
"Oh!" he looked, he dropped his paddle, lifted his hands up,
immediately got on
and
with his
walked
life.
out of the line of fire. He just walked behind the guy. He's like, "I'll see you later, buddy."
There's a guy in the video who has his baby there, and he takes his baby out of the carriage and
Yeah.
is pushing the
He
carriage.
pushed
It's
the
like,
carriage
in the
without the
event
baby.
I need to run,
Yeah.
my baby is here betwixt my arms. Anyway,
I don't know what's faster, having
It's
a
the stairs.
strapped in baby.
right? It's the stairs.
Yeah.
Because Churchill Square, there's all those stairs you have to go through to get
Yeah,
out.
that's true too.
And the direction he was going in,
he was
he
going
was
straight
going to the
towards.
stairs.
Yeah. So he picked up the baby and
He
he's
was
like,
ready to-
"I'm leaving."
White guy was ready to be out.
Speed walking for the Olympics. Just speed walking
He
out with
said,
his baby.
I'm out of here. Let me get this baby out of here. Take it. Every time I take her out, her mother, they'll never let me take her out again. Every time I take her out, some craziness happens. Anyhow, we have the Calgary mayor talking about home ownership. She said home ownership's the pits. Home ownership's for losers, she said.
And I realized, and she's going off of this next generation, this Gen Z-ish type of generation. The generation that I'm from, which just happens to be Gen X, for those of you who are wondering.
Yes, I'm a millennial.
So from Gen X point of view, our parents literally were immigrants that came over to probably England or even straight to Toronto. And then from there, they came over to Edmonton when they found out that there was a boom happening. Now, with that, they probably came from like my mom, or I should talk about my dad more. My dad, he literally was in impoverished situation. So he used to tell me there were rats that used to climb on the edge of the bed and nibble at his toes.
Oh, Viola Desmond Davis?
Mhm.
Viola Davis? She said the same thing.
Yeah, used to nibble at his toes
Mhm.
in the middle of the night. They would kick them off, right?
Oh my
And
gosh.
when he came here, he wanted to have things. And being in England, there were certain things that you had, like a china set. Anybody know of a Caribbean household with a whole china set? That in England, having a set that they stole from the Chinese and had a set of porcelain plates gleaming white in an armoire, that was your sign of status.
Right. And for those of you who are from a time when McDonald's used to give out collective glasses, that's also where the collective glasses go.
They also go any type of nice glass.
Olympic collective glasses from McDonald's.
From McDonald's. And we had the Olympics here, and they had these like collectors. And I've had quite a few collectors sets. Even the current Olympics, they had them.
They had the glasses again?
They had the glasses.
Girl, when I tell you, I'm not paying attention.
So
I'm gonna get the next ones though.
So what ended up happening is inside the armoire, even at my house, my niece used to, my mom used to collect crystal figurines that also went in and around the armoire.
Right.
And my niece there used to be angels or dolphins or whatever, and my niece broke off some of the wings off of the angels because she was a baby, and she did this, and she got the licks that all Caribbean parents,
children get. It's
children
a rite
get.
of passage.
It's a rite of passage. So now we look at this lady. She's talking about owning a home gets you back to the 40s, 50s, and 60s. She's not wrong, because that's what you wanted back then. Owning a home, you could own a home here in Edmonton probably for like $5,000
if you were a certain.
If you had this
one,
but not if you had this but not this
one.
Yeah.
Maybe this one, just depending.
Listen, I don't know if you know this, Dilo, but the lighting makes your this one and this one look very similar.
Listen, it's the lighting.
It's the lighting.
Nigel adjusted the lights today.
Yes, to make us look brighter.
We do look brighter. That's the point.
So for her to say this, it brings us all the way back to 1830.
Oh, so wait, I still want to talk about
Oh,
this Calgary Mayor thing
let's
before
talk about.
we move on to Miss Swift, the Swifties, before they come for us. But the thing is I've seen this argued before. I've seen people break down renting, like on these TikTok videos where they're like writing a bunch of numbers on a paper. I've seen people break down the cost of renting for life and the cost of actual home ownership, including all upkeep, things going wrong, emergency funds, flooding, all that extra stuff. And when they put it down fiscally over the course of your year, renting is better because it takes a lot off your thing. But at the same time, I don't know, you have no power as a renter.
The thing that helps you out being a homeowner versus a renter is the ability to leverage your home to borrow more debt.
Right.
That's the only real thing.
It,
Because what I'm noticing is that even people who have for years, like say my mom, who had a house, and let's say she's leaving that house behind when she goes up to the chair up in the sky. So when she's sitting there thinking about it, a lot of the children don't want the home. They feel that it's old, it's this, so they end up selling the ancestral home to buy something more modern.
yeah, I don't disagree with you. What I think is also happening is they'll knock down that ancestral home,
Yep.
use the equity to build $1 million something something,
And
and then
then,
sell that.
yeah,
But and additionally, the other part that's disturbing is that like the entry level into the housing market is being knocked down, and these McMansions are literally replacing them. But
yeah,
it's like, oh, while I could have lived on this block for 250 or 300,000, now it costs 750 to 850, almost $1 million to live on the exact same block.
yeah,
Hashtag mature area, hashtag trees.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so that's all I wanted to say. Maybe, but I just think it's funny. It's like one of the laws of power where it's like, I don't remember which one it is, but there's one of them where it's like, if you can't have something, you're to despise it fully.
The other thing too is the most sad thing about home ownership that I've seen is I've watched investors or people that have money take a home that somebody has leveraged and leveraged and leveraged and then accrued too much debt. Now they're too old to work. Their back hurts, their backs up,
Oh, they're
hips
underwater in their
replaced,
house.
and now they've got to move into a home.
Right,
And then their house gets sold to the highest bidder,
right.
and then that person takes it and just chops it down to the ground and
Yeah.
makes it infill in its place. And I watched a man collect all his wife's things because she passed and had them stored there. And then he had a garage with motorcycles and stuff in there that he was working on, but
Hmm.
he hurt himself. And for years, it grew bad and he could not recover. And he lost everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And his kids didn't help.
Wow.
They couldn't.
Well, I don't know. I would like to have a little piece of land, is all I'd like to say. There was a time, which is what I was going to say, that you had to have land to vote. And the concern is that there will be a time like this again because we're
Wow.
tilting into fascism. Uh, tilting into the.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
I think the ban of TikTok is tilting into fascism.
All right.
Okay, but we're gonna talk about how 1830 is the bottom 10 decades of all time.
Cycle back. Yeah.
So, Taylor Swift,
Mm-hmm.
did she say she wished she was born? What's the actual lyric? What's the verse?
So the lyric is talking about her as a child, and her
Okay.
and her childhood friends used to pick a decade which they felt they could live, and they thought that living in 1830s would be beautiful because of all the trees would still be up and the mycelius network would be there and all the flowers and the brush would still be there. We wouldn't have chopped it down to make houses. It'd all be there. And a lot of people came for her and were like, yo, 1830s was a horrible time.
I think she literally
And she was
said
like,
without the
except,
racist
and she
in
goes,
the song, right?
yeah, she goes, except for racism. That's what she said. But even without racism,
It's a terrible time.
and I
Pretty
told
much
a lot of people
racism is
this when I
all
was
they had going on at that time, to be honest with you.
racism is what made them in the 1830s billions of dollars
Bro, they were
in
doing
the
it.
1830s. And that's not when I
That
thought about
specific
that.
decade, too.
When I thought about having $1 billion in the 1830s, that is not something where they scaled it and they were like, oh, well, if you lived in the 1830s, but we're
No,
here
girl.
in our age, then that would be about $1 billion. No, they made the billion at the time
At
in
the
the
time.
1830s. This is why we can't get ahead because that generational wealth was strong.
Strong. They were colonizing Australia at the time and doing all sorts of horrible things to the Aboriginal people in Australia.
Yeah.
And yeah, 1830, like I went to Wikipedia and was like, "Hey Wikipedia, tell me the things that happened in 1830." Now, I didn't make the qualifier of like not racism. Like if we just put racism in our pocket, there's still like dysentery, women can't speak or go to college, or like
Vote.
there's also like randomly people thinking that women are witches and like literally burning them and setting them on
Burning.
fire. This is without racism.
Yeah.
Also, let's also consider that racism was the global economy of the time. So, what you're like without racism, you mean also without economics of the time, because they weren't really making money off anything except colonization and slavery. I think there was even slavery in Canada in 1830.
Taylor Swift's also a country girl, so riding on a horse every day to work is okay for her. She's okay with this. Having cars with working windshield wipers, that's like for me, I like it. One of the things that my trivia group, I host trivia on Tuesday nights at River City Revival House, and the people there said this: if they had to choose a decade that they would live, it'd be now. Guess
Kind of.
you
I
get all the
mean,
things.
yeah. I mean, for black people, it's definitely not
It's
backwards
not backwards.
for us.
Please don't
Like,
take me to 1985.
don't even
I
take
still
me to
want
96.
to. I just
Don't
2024 is okay. I'll stay right here.
20 2009, like, clear on that one. You know what I'm saying? Like, the one that we're in is fine.
Yep. 2009 is
It's fine.
Michael Jackson died 2009. Also 2009 they really perfected the iPad, which we now use to this day, the same model.
Chris Brown buffed up Rihanna in 2009 as well, which leads us on to Jilly from Philly
Jilly from Philly. Chris Brown buffed up Rihanna.
in
P.
2009.
Diddy calls him up and tried to rectify the situation.
Yeah, but they went jet skiing or whatever. Called him
Yeah, he
over.
did.
But even in the most current complaint, with the underage da da ba da ba da da, Chris Brown's day was very, very much on the stuff.
Present
Yes,
and
accounted for. Yes. So anyway, who knows if that started then? You know, Diddy's known to do his.
This Diddy.
And to be honest with you, like, people still think that that's the only thing that Chris Brown has done. But he has been consistently violent towards women in his entire career, including Karuchi.
Karachi.
And so why are we talking about Chris Brown? So so Diddy is calmed down. Apparently he's not having any Diddy offs or parties or whatever. Therefore, the rap game is in shambles and everybody's bored because they don't have nefarious things to do.
Right.
So they're out here writing raps to each other.
I just realized the complete shade that entered the entire room as you said all of those things.
So the rap boys are fighting. And what's even hilarious about it is, for those of you, I don't know if you guys listen to this new decade of hip hop. In any case, Yachty came out and Yachty was like, you know why everybody's fighting? Because they're not handsome. I'm handsome. I'm fine. I'm handsome. I was like, Yachty, you're a funny one, that one. But in any case, everybody else is fighting and fighting. Drake came out with some song that everybody thought was AI about Rick Ross. Rick Ross came out, said Drake got a nose job, called him a white boy.
A couple times.
Drake shared a text message that he had with his mom, being
Fantastic.
like, "Oh, I didn't know you got a nose job or whatever." I felt like he
His
didn't.
mom just him. His mom's like, yeah, I didn't know
No,
you
his
got that.
mom came with like a LOL, like,
Oh,
"Oh, you know I wanted one, you went without me, LOL." And he's like, "LOL, mom, it's just this guy I used to make songs with." It's very weird. It's a really weird back and forth.
it
Anyway,
is
right. So then this is all because Kendrick Lamar said F Big Three is just Big Me.
me.
And the Big Three is supposed to be J. Cole, Drake, and Kendrick Lamar. Then Drake came out and Drake said, "Oh yeah," and he F not just Kendrick, he went across the board and started talking about everybody else. Low key, allegedly, it is said on the gossip columns that Drake has a really big drinking issue and he needs to take a pause on his career because he needs to go rehabilitate himself. He's canceled shows or whatever. 100% alleged. I only watched it on the TikTok gossip blogs. Anyway, so Drake came back. He said, F you, F you, F you, F you, F you. He pretty much like threw subliminals at the entire thing. J. Cole came out and J. Cole was like, "You know what? Blah, 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 blah." J. Cole wrote a rhyme or whatever. Then J. Cole came back out and said, "Wait a minute. Never mind. Let's just pretend I didn't say that," and made an apology, which a lot of people were like, "That's so whack." But I feel J. Cole being like, "Actually, I know that I did this, but I'm out." He said, "I have aligned myself with God, and this feels counter my alignment, and it just feels whack to me, and I can't do it." So J. Cole himself, Ari Lennox, a queen, came out and was like, "J. Cole, that was really dope, yada yada." But most people are like, "How whack?" Which, I mean, J. Cole's been going exactly there for the longest time. So for the people who are actually J. Cole fans, I don't know why that was shocking to people because we've been watching him. Like, he's sitting up in a tree with like his locks grown out. Like, what do you think's gonna happen? But anyway, so blah blah blah. Kendrick Lamar hasn't come back yet. Drake doesn't want to reply to Kendrick because Drake feels like Kendrick is going to say something about him liking underage girls, which is another alleged thing that people have talked about in the industry. And then Chris Brown came out of nowhere and was like, "Oh, actually, being that we're all doing rap beefs and maybe also perhaps to distract from the fact that I was named in the most recent suit with Diddy, I'm going to go ahead and rap this diss track to Quavo of all people." Anyway, in the diss track to Quavo, which is what makes you uncomfortable, he said that um, people wish he would have died instead of Takeoff. And he also said, like, he effed his girl when he was with her. Like, "So what, you effed my ex girl, I effed your girl when you guys were together," which is allegedly Sweetie. When Sweetie and Quavo was together, allegedly. Uh, Quavo said a bunch of stuff about Chris Brown beating his partners. And this is all over Carucci, who had a restraining order out against Chris Brown at the time she was dating Quavo. Make it make sense.
Okay.
Was
So
that too much?
yeah.
It was way too much. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
All right, let's move along.
That was a lot. I wanted to say that J. Cole, I waited to say this. J. Cole literally, he literally started acting the way he's acting now because he used to do diss tracks a lot.
He used to do rap before.
And everybody was like, this is great. But then he got into an accident and everybody was like, he died in the accident. And then he appeared fine after this brutal. It was all over the news.
Right. So you think he was cloned at that time?
This is what the JB Fox clone, this
Okay,
clone,
so we're dealing with clone Chris Brown now.
not Chris Brown, J Cole,
Oh, J. Cole.
J Cole. So that's why everybody's like, "Yo, you spit a hot verse." It's like you went back to the old you. We like this, and he's like, "Nah, this is the new me." Wink, wink. This is what's up. So a lot of the people that Nilo named off, for people who are like my mom, who are like 80, you're not gonna
She
know
was
any
like,
of those
I beg
names
your
and
pardon?
any of those
It's
people.
fine, but now
But
if you're
all
in
you
the
need to
room
know,
and the kids are talking, you have an idea.
all you need to know about this is really that Jill Scott said that Chris Brown is an awesome rapper, an awesome singer, an awesome actor, and he's a good looking. That's the problem. I had a problem with. I'm like, Miss Jillian Scott, how? Why did you
Why
say
did you
this
say this thing?
niceties about Chris? And they're like, well, he's an abuser. And she was like, yeah, a lot of people are abuser, but I'm recognizing his talent, not
No, that's not
his
what she
abuse.
said.
It's exactly what she said. Read it.
It's not what she said.
Okay.
What she said was, my mom's ex husband was also an abuser and a terrible man, but he could do amazing things with concrete, laid the best concrete in the city, and no one could ever tell him anything about concrete. And so that's what you're saying, that you can, or we can still recognize the talent, which I don't think is even less.
Okay.
I don't think is like less what you call it. Like I don't think it's any better. I don't think it's less toxic. Like that response is not less toxic. Like, oh, my mama's ex-husband beat her up and he could lay concrete. Like, so,
The
bro.
example is the concrete that he's laying has nothing to do with the fact that he did this thing. He's just a good concrete layer. This guy, she's honoring him because he's just a good rapper. He's just talented in that way. He does do these things, but it doesn't have anything to do with this other thing that he's really, really good at. And that's what she's saying.
I understand what she's saying. I think it's toxic, and I think
I
that
think
the
it's triggering for a
example
lot of people, but I'm not
is,
sure if it's toxic.
I think the example is just as toxic. You don't, I mean, sure, everybody's triggered on the whole internet. Nobody's like, yeah, Jill. I mean, I suppose those people are like, yeah, I guess people can be abusers, but it's not about the person being an abuser and a great dancer or whatever. It's about you choosing to use your platform to like uplift or uphold that person. Anyhow, I mean, to be honest with you, people are out there uplifting Chris Brown on a regular basis.
Basis. He
So
still has a
he's
huge
fine.
following.
Chris Brown
He
is
does.
fine. He does not need,
Yeah.
he's fine. So in Niger, in Nigeria, there is a market in Abuja, and the market in Abuja is run by the Chinese folks who are there in Abuja as well. Anyway, they have been not allowing Nigerians into the market, into the very Nigerian market in Abuja. They say, oh, it's only Chinese only. So recently, they just shut down this market. Finally, in Niger, the authorities came and shut it down and was like, "You can't
Wow.
do this in our country, bro."
Wow.
So good for them.
If you know anything about politics and the Asian, specifically Chinese community, they have amassed many, many places all around the islands as well, and
Neocolonialism.
literally taken over a bunch of the stuff. They have the same names, but they are run. But the head person on the top is Chinese or Asian.
Actually, I want to talk about this thing, but I can't even look it up. There's an edge control that is in the States, and I don't know what the name of it is. But this girl, it's Korean brand, and this black girl was working for the Korean brand, and she went on TikTok and did a TikTok about what it was like working there, and she was like the only black person there with an entire Korean team. And she, on like her first day or her second day or something, she made a video, and the video went viral. and they were like so upset they ended up deleting the video.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, "Oh, why did you delete the video?" They're like, "Oh, because there had like negative comments on it." She's like, she was looking at the video the whole time. She's like reading all the comments. The only comment that could be construed as negative is somebody was like, "I hope this is a black owned brand," because it was like a joke about SZA or something that went viral.
Right.
Anyway, so by the second day, third day, how about everybody in the company just start speaking like their own language? I want to say Korean, but I don't know if Korean specifically is a language. But in
Okay.
any case, everybody starts speaking Korean. And so she's like in meetings, like, and nobody's speaking English anymore. One day, there was like a meeting, they had to do something in New York. So she goes into the office and there's literally nobody in the office. And she's like what's going on? I know there was this meeting in New York, but like surely the whole office didn't go to New York and leave me here. Surely the whole office went to New York and had whatever meeting they needed to have and left her there in
Alone.
alone, the only person in the office.
That's wild.
They put her on a different project where she didn't have a team. It was like all of this stuff that it was like so intense. But it was like Ube Naturals or something like that. It's a brand that people think is black owned. It's a big edge control brand and that's actually Korean owned. And the girl went through like literal hell. I don't think I've
Mm-mm.
heard some of those stories like that before.
The wild.
Yeah. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
are you ready to move on to the
Scream.
screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you watching?
Ah, well, Rebel Moon is out, part two. Um, I'm trying to get on board with that, but it's a little bit slow going, so I need time to go through all of Rebel Moon. X-Men 97 every week has been a banger, just episode after episode. If you're not into X-Men or superheroes, fine. But this is a soap opera for adults. It's not for kids.
Fair enough.
It is a soap opera. There is things happening in this thing that you're like, what? And they've continued the story so well. It's almost seamless. Like you could literally go to X-Men and then just watch right into X-Men 97 and you will just move on.
That's amazing.
So
I'm
it's
glad they did it some
fantastic. And it's a
justice.
black writer director that's behind it. That's why I always talk about X-Men 97.
Super.
And then last but not least is the show I've been watching as well. I started watching it. Nilo mentioned it last week, which was Alex Rider.
Oh, you're in that now.
Yes, and
I think I'm
fantastic.
behind. Yeah.
Fantastic writing, but I'm gonna spoil it for a lot of people. Alex Rider, the character who plays Alex Rider, which his name is Otto, is
He looks like an Otto.
27 years old, playing a 16-year-old person. And you don't see his age until you get to the final, the season that's out right now, which is season 3.
It's
So
because of all this pretend job. It's this pretend spy job he's had
stressing the guy,
for seasons.
stressed out for real.
Literally, they're like, yeah. Anyway, they're his reluctant employers.
They're very reluctant.
I hope they pay him. Like I've never seen him like get his check or ask about his direct deposit.
Oh, in the character, yes.
Yeah.
So those are the two things that I've been watching. What about yourself?
Okay, so I have a warning. There is a show on Netflix called The House. Do not watch it. It is absolutely two of the most devastating. Nigel's laughing because I told him I chose this show because it has felt and talking animals.
Puppets.
Things I love.
Puppets. Felt
Fantastic
puppets.
Mr. Fox. Things I love, right? Okay. No. Two horrible stories about houses that literally gave me anxiety. I don't think I was able to sleep properly, literally because of the anxiety these two shows gave me. So it's The House. It's like two different episodes. It's two completely different art styles and stories that are being told. Absolutely, both of them equally depressing and devastating as each other. Horrible. So that is what I watched this week, and that is what I implore you or encourage you. If you see it on your Netflix, just give it a quick thumbs down and keep it moving so that you don't get inundated with anything like that. They had the nerve to call it a dark comedy.
Unless you're into that kind of stuff,
Comedy?
then that's you.
Comedy, though.
It's Tim Burton meets
It's
Quentin Tarantino.
no.
It's creepy. Add maybe even Alfred Hitchcock, because it is.
Anyway, you guys, don't watch it. The House on Netflix now. Out now. Out now on Netflix.
Or watch it and let us know what you thought about
I do
in the
whatever he
comment.
said is on y'all and him. Okay?
I'm
So
just giving you another option.
when
Maybe you like that
watch
kind of stuff.
it, remember it was your friend Nigel who told you to watch it.
Yeah.
It was not me. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess let us know if you take Nigel's how do you call it?
Alternate suggestion.
Alternate suggestion. Okay.
All right.
What are you listening to? What's in your ears?
Man in my ears. I fell upon a guy by name. He has a song called Lessons. His name is Eric Robertson.
Okay.
Eric Robertson has a song called Lessons. And when I started listening to it, it was 3 songs that were inspirational. Not necessarily gospel songs, but they're inspirational songs. So one of them was Things Are Gonna Be Okay by Cleo Soul. Be Okay by Samote. I think you had recommended that for me one time last year. Mm-hmm. And then this one here, Lessons by Eric Robertson. His remix is with our boy, Anthony Hamilton.
I was like, Arlo?
And 2 other people.
Not Arlo, sorry.
Not Arlo. Not yet.
Okay.
So
that sounds dope. I will check it out. That sounds really awesome.
What are you listening to?
I've learned that if you play Beyonce Cowboy Carter Act 2 and then you follow directly up with Beyonce Renaissance Act 1, it sort of tracks smoothly into each other. So I've been listening to the combination of those albums to see how it truly, you can start Cowboy Carter and then go into Act 1 right after. It's quite smooth.
Wow. I heard that if you buy the album in vinyl and then play it backwards, there's a secret hidden message.
Oh my God. The secret hidden message is that you scratch the CD and it's collectible and now they're sold out.
Now the vinyl's dead.
Okay. Today is your word. Words, the birds, the word. And
my word?
Is it yours or is it mine? Yeah, my word last week was help is not coming.
Yes, that was a good word.
What's yours?
I do have word for this week. And I've probably done a similar word to this before. But ego is not always the best way to go.
Ooh.
Is my word. And what has happened is, in my life, I've had many instances where I have felt disrespected. I felt like you did not hold my knowledge to a higher caliber than what it is. Or you felt that, not Nilo, but people in general.
The royal you.
The royal you. Felt that what I was thinking was not enough, or the research that I did on this was not enough. So there's always these questions. Well, did you do this? Well, did you do that? And I start getting annoyed and my ego starts to puff up because I'm like, yo, I am smart enough to analytically and critically critique something enough that I could go through the process. What I've been learning is that ego is not always the best way to go, because you don't have to care about anybody and what they say and how they go about how they think about you. Your job is to look at yourself, go to the youngest version of yourself that you could picture, and you could tell yourself that you don't have to worry about these things. You are smart enough. You are strong enough. You are fast enough. You are well enough to get things done and get things efficiently going. A lot of us have graduated from university or trades college or high school, and we are in positions now where we can make money differently. It could look like different money for us, but we keep telling ourselves that we're not enough. And it is a thing where we are. And you need to know that you are enough. So you don't need to get upset when people question things. You don't need to get upset when people don't do things the way that you've planned it. And you don't need to walk away either when they don't listen. Stay there and trust yourself. So ego is not always the best way to go.
Okay, that was a very, very amazingly great word. Excellent. I hope that that word helps you guys somehow throughout your week. And we will see you again next week. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. This has been the Black Multiverse
Multiverse
Theory
Theory
podcast
Podcast.
with Nilo and Nigel, or Nigel and Nilo, sorry. We will see you again next week. Same bat time, same